The karmic connection between humans and ghosts has been an inscrutable mystery since ancient times. Ghosts are formed from yin energy and fierce sunlight and vitality, while ordinary people often feel terror and avoid encountering ghosts and spirits. What mysteries lie within the intersection of the realms of yin and yang? One day, the Blessed One was expounding the Dharma to his disciples under the Bodhi Tree. Venerable Ananda suddenly posed a question that intrigued everyone. Who in the world is not afraid of ghosts and spirits? The Buddha, in classical Chinese attire, with the corners of his mouth gently lifted, his eyes shimmering with the light of wisdom. In the world, there are three kinds of people who are not only unafraid of ghosts, but even ghosts dare not approach them. Who exactly are these three types of people? Why possess such supernatural powers that can cause restless spirits to stay thousands of miles away? Please continue reading, and you may discover a profound secret that could change your destiny. Golden sunlight penetrated the clouds, shining upon an ancient monastery outside the kingdom of India ruled by King Shadraka. On the bluestone path dappled with light and shadow, beneath the Bodhi tree, the Buddha sits surrounded by disciples, expounding the profound truths of samsara and the cycle of birth and death. Suddenly, the sound of hurried footsteps came from afar. The crowd looked up and saw a ragged man stumbling forward, his face filled with terror, sweat soaking through his clothes. "Help! Help!" That person ran all the way to the Buddha, fell to his knees with a thud, gasping for breath like an ox. "A ghost has been chasing me for 3 days and nights. It wants to consume my soul." The disciples, upon hearing the sound, involuntarily took a few steps back, exchanging glances with one another. Only the Buddha remained calm and unmoved, his gaze serene like still water. "Where's the ghost?" the Buddha asked peacefully, and the man trembled as he pointed behind him. "Right there, a dark shadow follows me like a reflection, never leaving." The crowd followed the direction of his finger, seeing nothing but emptiness. Yet the Buddha's gaze penetrated the void, as if perceiving something unseen by ordinary beings. "Ananda, please bring a bowl of pure water," the Buddha instructed, and Ananda quickly brought clear water, respectfully offering it with both hands. The Buddha took someone's bowl, gently blew on it, and then sprinkled water onto the empty ground behind that person. A wondrous scene unfolded as the moment the water droplets touched the ground. They emitted a sizzling sound, like boiling oil bathing water. Immediately, a wisp of light smoke rose, faintly revealing a twisted black shadow struggling within the smoke, emitting a piercing, mournful scream before gradually dissipating into the air. The man gradually grew stronger, filled with astonishment and joy, repeatedly bowing his head and sincerely thanking the Buddha for saving his life. The Buddha slightly shook his head, saying that although this ghost has temporarily retreated, the karmic connections are not yet resolved, and it will surely return in the future. If you truly wish to completely free yourself from its entanglement, you must identify the fundamental cause. The person asked fearfully, "Venerable Buddha, please guide me. What should I do to no longer be disturbed by ghosts and demons?" The Buddha replied, "Being afflicted by ghosts and demons always has a cause. Have you ever committed any unwholesome deeds, or formed deep enmity with others?" The man lowered his head in deep contemplation. Suddenly his expression changed dramatically. 3 years ago, I had a dispute with my neighbor over a piece of land. In a moment of anger, I pushed him onto the stones, causing severe injuries that led to his death. At that time, no one knew. I have kept it concealed until now. The Buddha nodded, acknowledging that this was the very origin of the karmic connection. You have taken a life and incurred a blood debt. That ghost is precisely the vengeful spirit of your neighbor, unable to transcend due to hatred. What should I do then? The person asked in panic. You must first confess your wrongdoing to the deceased family and sincerely offer compensation. Secondly, recite sutras daily as a dedication of merit for the deceased. Finally, one must also reform oneself and actively practice virtuous deeds. Only in this way can the resentment gradually be resolved. Upon hearing this, the person remained silent for a long time, then solemnly made 3 prostrations. The teachings of the Buddha I shall firmly keep engraved in my heart. I will go back immediately to confess my crimes and bear the consequences. The Buddha looked upon the departing figure with a heart filled with compassion. After the person had walked away, Ananda curiously asked, "Bhagwan, how did you discover the presence of that ghostly apparition? None of us saw it." The Blessed One smiled and said, "Ananda, ghosts and spirits belong to the yin realm and are often invisible to the naked eye of ordinary people. However, those who practice cultivation possess a clear inner eye of wisdom and can perceive both the yin and yang worlds." Buddha, do ghosts and spirits truly exist in the world? Why do they cling to the living and refuse to let go? Another disciple, with a deceitful tongue, asked. The Buddha, seeing that his disciples were eager for knowledge, proceeded to explain in detail that among the 6 realms of samsara, there exist beings in the realm of hungry ghosts. After death, based on the good and evil karma accumulated during one's lifetime, one will be reborn as beings in different realms. If the resentment is too heavy, or if one dies suddenly without anyone performing liberation rites, the soul may remain trapped in the human realm, becoming a wandering and restless ghost. Most of these spirits possess their own attachments, either unfulfilled wishes from their past lives or intense resentment towards someone. They will cling to those with whom they have affinities until their attachments are resolved or their wishes fulfilled. So what are ghosts and demons afraid of? A disciple asked. Ghosts are formed from yin energy. Naturally, they fear sunlight and yang energy. This is also why ghosts and spirits are more active at night and tend to avoid crowded places. Ananda, contemplating deeply, understood that those with strong bodies and abundant vital energy are naturally less susceptible to disturbances by spirits and demons. This is one aspect. However, merely worrying about excessive yang energy is insufficient. If lustful thoughts proliferate in the mind and one behaves improperly, this will likewise attract ghosts and demons. When the mind is right, evil cannot invade. With a pure and uncontaminated inner heart, naturally all evils cannot penetrate. The Bhagwan was approached by a young disciple who timidly asked, if one accidentally encounters ghosts or spirits, how should one protect oneself? First, do not be afraid. Fear weakens the will and vital energy, thereby giving demons an opportunity to take advantage. One may recite sutras or keep the Buddha's name in mind, resting the body and breath with a pure and serene mind. Most importantly, understand that all phenomena arise from the mind. When the mind remains unmoved, demons naturally stay away. Just as everyone was attentively listening to the Buddha's teachings, footsteps were heard from afar once again. This time, it was a young man dressed in luxurious attire, followed by several attendants. The disciple Sapta Parvan respectfully paid homage to the Shakyamuni Buddha, the young man bowing with reverence. What matter do you wish to consult the court physician about? The Blessed One asked kindly. The princess in the palace has been waking up from nightmares every night, claiming to be haunted by spirits. I have tried every possible method, but none can dispel them. I have come to respectfully ask the Buddha, what kind of spirits or ghosts did the princess see in her dream? He said that every deep night, a woman dressed in red quietly stood by the window, silent and motionless, merely gazing at him until dawn, when she vanished. This matter has persisted for half a month, and the princess has gradually withered away due to fear. The Buddha pondered for a moment, seeking to know whether anyone had died recently in the palace, especially male attendants close to the princess. Suddenly, he realized clearly that such a matter existed. Half a month ago, the princess's personal attendant suddenly passed away. He grew up with the princess, sharing a bond like sisters, and the princess was once overwhelmed with grief. The Buddha nodded. This is the reason. The maid and the princess shared a deep and profound bond of affection. After death, their souls could not bear to part, so they remained by his side to protect him. However, due to the distinction between yin and yang, such protection instead becomes an interference. What should be done then? The Buddha took a string of prayer beads from his robe and handed it to her. Place this mala under the princess's pillow and recite the rebirth mantra 7 times each night before sleep. At the same time, inform the princess that his attendant has gone to a better place and need not be mourned. Only then can the attendant depart peacefully. He respectfully upholds the precepts and counts the beads, expressing deep gratitude to the Blessed One for his guidance. This is only a temporary measure. To resolve it thoroughly, a ritual must be performed for the attendant on the 49th day after their passing to aid their rebirth. After the figure departed, Anan asked curiously, "Buddha, how did you know that was the soul of the princess's attendant and not an evil spirit?" Good and evil have their forms. Evil spirits, burdened by intense resentment, often have grimacing faces and carry a malevolent aura. The souls that remain attached to the earthly realm due to emotional ties often retain their former appearance, and their aura is relatively harmonious. From Chipa's description, the woman in the red robe was just standing quietly, with no intention to harm anyone, clearly staying because of affection. This discourse greatly inspired the disciples, deepening their admiration for the Buddha's wisdom. As the sun sets in the west, the evening glow blazes like fire, draping the entire temple in a layer of golden red radiance. The disciples had just finished their meal and gathered again under the Bodhi Tree to continue asking the Blessed One about questions concerning spirits and deities. How many types of ghosts and spirits exist in the world according to the Buddha? What are their respective characteristics? A disciple asked. The Buddha explained that beings in the ghost realm can generally be categorized into solitary spirits, malevolent ghosts, evil spirits, and hungry ghosts. Among them, the lonely spirits wander aimlessly because there are no offerings or rituals performed for them. A malevolent spirit arises due to excessive resentment accumulated during life, preventing rebirth after death. Hungry ghosts delight in harming others and actively seek out living beings to torment. Hungry ghosts suffer from perpetual hunger and wander everywhere searching for food. The disciple continued to ask whether the abilities and degrees of harm of these ghosts and demons differed. Indeed, restless spirits are the weakest, able to appear only at specific times, and mostly incapable of harming others. Malevolent spirits possess stronger resentment and greater power, and they may cause harm to those who harbor grudges. Hungry ghosts and malevolent spirits are even more dangerous. They can affect a person's emotions and health, and in severe cases, may even cause death. The disciples listened with their hearts pounding and faces filled with fear, exchanging glances of shock and concern. Do not be afraid. The Buddha comforted, for although ghosts and monsters exist, they too have their limitations. They often appear in places heavy with yin energy, such as graves and abandoned buildings. As long as one maintains right mindfulness and conducts oneself properly, one generally will not incur danger. As the discourse continued, the sky grew dark, and lamps were lit in the monastery to dispel the darkness. At this moment, an elderly bhikkhu approached and paid homage to the Blessed One. The Blessed One, a special guest, has come to visit, saying there is an urgent matter to consult. Who is it? The village head of Taluo village in the southern part of the city. He said that the village has recently been haunted, with 3 people having died suddenly without cause, leaving the villagers in fear and unrest. Soon, an elderly man with white hair and beard was ushered inside. His face was haggard, his eyes filled with worry. The elderly venerably pays respects to Shakyamuni. The elder bows with reverence. No need for formalities, village chief. I heard your village has encountered trouble. The elder sighed. Our Dora village has always been peaceful and harmonious. But about a month ago, strange occurrences suddenly began in the village. At first, It was just unusual noises at night, but later, someone saw a dark shadow wandering through the village. Later, the elder's voice choked with emotion as 3 villagers died one after another within just 10 days, each saying before death that they had seen that shadowy figure. Was the connection among these 3 villagers? The Buddha asked. The elder pondered for a moment and said that they were all elderly people who did not interact much in daily life. However, the elders suddenly recalled something. They had all participated in a hunt 20 years ago, during which they captured a gigantic black bear, and the entire village celebrated for 3 days and 3 nights. Has anyone ever said something special before passing away? Yes, the elderly man who passed away last said that he saw a black bear standing by his bedside, its eyes filled with hatred. The Buddha nodded, realizing, so it is, the vengeful spirit of the black bear has returned for revenge. The village chief looked at the Buddha in surprise, saying, "It is the bear demon causing trouble." "Not the bear demon," replied the Buddha. "It is a vengeful spirit." After the black bear was killed, its intense resentment caused its soul to remain unrest, transforming it into a vengeful spirit, waiting for an opportunity to exact revenge. 20 years passed, and his strength had grown powerful enough to finally exact revenge on those who had participated in hunting him down years ago. What should we do then? Several elderly villagers participated in that hunting expedition. They are now anxious and uneasy. The Buddha took a string of prayer beads from his robe and buried it at the entrance of the village to temporarily ward off disturbances from hostile neighbors. Then, those who participated in the hunting are to go to the back mountain of the village on the next full moon night, set up an altar at the place where the black bear was hunted that year, sincerely repent, and seek forgiveness. At the same time, vow never to take the life of any sentient being again, thereby dispelling all resentments. The village chief took the mala beads, tears of gratitude streaming down his face, and sincerely thanked the Buddha for the guidance. "I will arrange it immediately upon returning. Always remember to repent with sincere and genuine intention. Otherwise, resentment cannot truly be resolved. All sentient beings possess consciousness. Respecting life is the way to receive the universe's reciprocal blessings." The village chief solemnly made a vow before departing. The disciples watched his retreating figure vanish into the night, unable to help but marvel at the boundless wisdom of the Buddha. The night has deepened, with countless stars adorning the sky like innumerable eyes of wisdom gazing down upon the earth. Most of the disciples had returned to their meditation quarters to rest, with only a few senior disciples still seated around the Buddha, continuing to delve deeply into the observations and experiences of the day. Elder Anan pondered deeply for a long time and finally raised a crucial question. Today we have encountered various spirits and demons, and have come to understand their origins and abilities. I am wondering if there are certain beings in the world who are inherently unafraid of ghosts and spirits, and can even instill fear in them, causing them to stay away. Upon hearing this question, the other disciples also held their breath in silent anticipation, eager for the Buddha's wise teaching. The hall was enveloped in profound silence, as if even the candle flames had ceased to flicker. The Buddha's face is solemn yet compassionate, with eyes shimmering the radiant wisdom that transcends the mundane world. He spoke slowly, explaining that the common people only know that practitioners have strong yang energy, which enables them to ward off ghosts and evil spirits. However, in the world, there are 3 kinds of people who, upon perceiving the spiritual, keep a distance of 1,000 miles, not daring to disturb lightly. The first type of person possesses a pure heart, free from any distracting thoughts, like calm and still water. This person harbors no selfish desires in their heart, no greed, hatred, or delusion, no extreme hatred, only loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. A person whose mind and state are so clear naturally emanates a pure energy. This energy is like the blazing sun sweeping across the sky. Upon seeing it, demons and ghosts retreat 3 paces away. Such individuals, though living in a mundane world, have hearts like lotus flowers, unstained by the dust of the celestial realm. Although they walk among sentient beings, they have transcended worldly afflictions. Ordinary practitioners, even after decades of cultivation, may not reach this state. However, if one consistently introspects daily and strives to diminish selfish desires and distracting thoughts, one can gradually approach this condition. The disciples were contemplative, and some had already begun to reflect on the state of their own practice in their hearts. The Buddha continued, "The second type of person is one of great virtue and great goodness. This person devoted their entire life to practicing good deeds and accumulating virtue, Juku Jionan, without ever seeking anything in return. He perceives all things as one and is filled with love and a sense of responsibility toward all sentient beings. Such virtuous actions will generate a powerful protective karma around him, which no malevolent spirits can penetrate. Good karma is like a mountain. It is not the achievement of a single day. However, wholesome thoughts can begin with small actions, starting from today. Even the most insignificant acts of goodness, when accumulated bit by bit, can eventually converge into vast rivers and seas. Every time a person smiles once, forgives once, these seemingly simple actions, accumulated day by day, will naturally form a powerful protective merit. The disciples listened with rapt attention, and some silently made vows in their hearts to diligently cultivate goodness. The third type of person is one at whom the Buddha's brow suddenly reveals a tiny point of golden light, and the entire hall seems to shine a bit brighter. Someone who comprehends birth and death, fearless of the cycles of reincarnation. Such individuals understand that birth and death are merely illusions of the phenomenal world. They perceive the true nature of all things and realize that everything arises dependently and is fundamentally empty. For them, there is no distinction between life and death, no distinction between human and ghost. When a person truly transcends the concept of birth and death, no longer clinging to life nor fearing death, then ghosts and demons become merely another form of existence within a universe, requiring neither fear nor the possibility of fear. At this moment, his state of mind had transcended the mundane world. Not only could ghosts and demons not harm him, but they would also develop a sense of reverence towards him. The hall was enveloped in profound silence, each disciple deeply contemplating the extraordinary and world-shaking wisdom. These 3 types of people may seem different, but they actually represent 3 levels of practice: tranquility of mind, doing good deeds, and realization. Begin with the purity of mind, gradually accumulate wholesome karma, and ultimately attain a transcendent understanding of birth and death. Everyone can become one of these 3 types of people. The key lies in one's own cultivation and awakening. Venerable Ananda respectfully asked, "Bhagwan, can these 3 qualities coexist in one person?" The Blessed One smiled and nodded. Not only can they, but indeed they often do. One whose mind is pure and who practices good deeds accumulates virtue. Such a person is said to have grasped the ultimate truth of birth and death. These 3 complement each other and are mutually cause and effect. When the 3 are perfected, it is the true path to liberation. Then, how can ordinary people begin their practice and gradually approach these 3 states? Another disciple asked. The Buddha compassionately looked upon all his disciples, beginning with the observation of their own minds. Spend some time each day in quiet sitting meditation, observing how your thoughts arise, change, and fade away. Gradually, you will realize that thoughts are merely ripples on the surface of the water, while your true mind is like the deep pool beneath the surface, calm and vast. At the same time, cultivate compassion by perceiving the suffering of all sentient beings as your own pain, and their joy as your own joy. Treat all living beings with an equal mind, including seemingly humble creatures such as ants and moths. Lastly, contemplating life and death is not about fearing death, but but understanding that death is merely another form of transformation, like ice turning into water and water turning into vapor. When you truly understand that birth and death are like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, and shadow, your attachment to the worldly life naturally lessens, and the fear within your heart will dissipate without a trace. The disciples listened with rapt attention, as if the gates of their hearts were being opened one by one, allowing the light of wisdom to illuminate the darkest corners of their souls. As the night deepened, the Buddha looked at his disciples' eyes filled with the yearning for knowledge and said with satisfaction, "Tonight, each of you may return and rest. Remember, there are no shortcuts on the path of cultivation, but no effort is ever wasted. Each step brings one closer to the true self, and every day is a new beginning." The disciples respectfully prostrated themselves and departed reluctantly, with only Venerable Ananda remaining to organize the Buddha's couch. "Ananda," the Buddha softly called, using today's question to introduce an important direction in practice. Not fearing ghosts is essentially not fearing the fears within one's own mind. Ghosts fearing humans is actually a manifestation of good triumphing over evil. Remember this principle and pass it on to future destined beings. Ananda respectfully bowed his head, the disciple solemnly remembering the teachings of the Blessed One. As night deepened, the leaves of the Bodhi tree rustled softly, as if chanting this timeless wisdom. These three types of fearless human natures have become the realms pursued by countless practitioners. A mind as calm as water, virtue as lofty as a mountain, and a profound understanding of life and death. Perhaps, within the hearts of each of us, there lies the potential to become any one of these three types of individuals. The key lies in whether we are willing to embark on this inner journey of practice. From today, from this very moment, perhaps we too can gradually become the kind of people whom even ghosts and demons respect with some reverence, not because of outward power, but because of the light within our hearts.